Listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you will change the way you see yourself, the way women notice you, and the way the world responds to your energy. And most men will never hear this. I'm going to reveal the subtle truths about desire that nobody else dares to say out loud, the things that women are noticing in you right now, the small signals you've been missing, the ways you are already magnetic, but you've been blind to it. By the end of this video, you're going to realize that desire isn't about looks, money, or youth. It's about something far more powerful, something that older men already have but rarely recognize. You'll discover the hidden signs that women are flirting with you without even realizing it. The gestures, the glances, the energy shifts that scream interest louder than words ever could. You'll understand why being confident, calm, and fully present is far more attractive than trying to impress or chase someone. And you're going to see why almost every older man underestimates his own power, and why the moment you open your eyes to it, your life, your presence, and your relationships change forever. If you keep watching, I'm going to teach you how to recognize desire in ways that are subtle, shocking, and undeniable. You'll learn how energy, authority, and presence create an invisible magnetism that women cannot resist. And most importantly, you'll realize that you've been desired all along. You just didn't see it. Every second you stay tuned will bring you closer to stepping into that energy, owning that power, and becoming the man women naturally gravitate toward without effort. By the end of this video, you will never look at attention, attraction, or desire the same way again. You might not realize it, but desire is never loud. It doesn't announce itself with fanfare or obvious declarations. It whispers, it lingers, it appears in the subtle movements, glances, and energies of those around you. Most men spend their lives waiting for the big, obvious signs, a confession, a message, a direct compliment. But the truth is far more fascinating, far more powerful, and far more within your reach if you learn to recognize it. The first step in understanding your magnetism is to see the subtle signs that women are drawn to you, signs that are often invisible to the untrained eye. A glance that lingers for just a fraction of a second longer than normal is one of the most powerful indicators of attraction. It is almost imperceptible, a fleeting moment that most men overlook entirely. But pay attention, and you will see it everywhere. That small, almost accidental gaze carries 1,000 unspoken words. It communicates curiosity, interest, and a spark of connection. When someone looks at you in a way that seems longer than necessary, that is no accident. That is desire showing itself through the simplest, most human channel, the eyes. And the moment you notice it, something shifts. You begin to understand that the power of attraction is not always loud. It is subtle, elegant, and entirely in the details. Another clear sign is laughter, but not just any laughter, the kind that is almost contagious, the kind that bursts unexpectedly when you say something that is not even meant to be funny. When a woman laughs in a way that is unrestrained around you, that is her energy aligning with yours. It is a moment of connection, a recognition that something about your presence is affecting her on a deeper, almost unconscious level. Humor is one of the oldest forms of attraction in human history because it communicates intelligence, confidence, and a lightness of being that is impossible to resist. And when that laughter carries warmth, curiosity, and an almost teasing quality, it becomes a subtle declaration of interest, one that is infinitely more revealing than words alone. Touch is another domain where desire reveals itself, often in the most delicate and unassuming ways. A light brush of the arm, a hand that lingers for a second longer than necessary, even the simple act of standing a little closer than social convention might require. These are not random acts. They are the body speaking before the mind even registers it. Women often communicate attraction through touch without realizing they are doing so consciously. And the most powerful part of this is that it is not about the intensity of the touch, but the intent behind the micro moments. The world is full of accidental contact, but when contact carries warmth, engagement, and curiosity, that is desire in its most natural human form. Recognizing it requires patience, observation, and a quiet confidence that allows you to see the signs without overreacting. Words themselves can also betray subtle interest. Pay attention to questions that feel unusually personal, comments that linger on topics of emotion or experience, and conversations that seem to draw her closer to your world. Attraction is as much about curiosity as it is about desire. When someone asks about your thoughts, your experiences, your perspective, that is more than polite interest. It is a subconscious effort to connect with the essence of who you are. These conversations are not random, they are invitations. And most men, trapped in their own insecurities or doubts, fail to see them. They respond with indifference, with social autopilot, and in doing so, they miss a moment that could shift the entire dynamic of connection. The awareness of these verbal signs, paired with the recognition of visual and tactile cues, forms the foundation of true understanding, the understanding of when you are desired. Another layer of subtlety lies in energy itself. Desire is not only shown in glances, laughter, and touch, but also in the way someone's energy aligns with yours. When a woman moves through a room, her gestures, posture, and attention shift slightly toward you without conscious effort. She may mirror your movements, adopt similar pacing in her voice, or unconsciously orient her body toward you. These are not accidents, they are signals of resonance. Humans are wired to respond to energy, to gravitate toward it, and to communicate interest through it. The ability to perceive this energy requires mindfulness, a quiet attention to detail, and a willingness to trust what is often invisible at first glance. Those who learn to read these energies can perceive desire before it is even spoken aloud. They understand that attraction exists in a rhythm, a vibration that occurs naturally when two energies resonate. Many older men dismiss these signs because they mistake subtlety for insignificance. They think desire must be flashy, direct, or overt to be real, but the most profound attraction is almost always understated. It whispers rather than shouts. It teases rather than demands, and it challenges rather than conforms. Recognizing these subtleties is not just about seeing women differently, it is about seeing yourself differently. It is about realizing that your presence, your confidence, your life experience, and your energy create a magnetism that operates quietly but powerfully. This awareness changes everything. You stop chasing validation, and instead you start noticing the ways in which people are naturally drawn to you. You begin to act with authority, calmness, and presence that amplifies desire without a single word of effort. One of the most shocking truths is that many men never realize how desired they are because they are looking for the wrong signals. They search for declarations, confessions, or explicit expressions of interest, when in reality, desire is far more nuanced. It exists in the glances that linger too long, the laughter that carries a spark of intimacy, the touches that feel more deliberate than accidental, and the energy that shifts subtly when you enter a room. These are signs of attraction that have been happening all along, unnoticed, unrecognized, and underappreciated. When you finally learn to see them, your understanding of relationships, attraction, and personal power shifts dramatically. You realize that desire is not something to be pursued, it is something to be recognized, honored, and aligned with. The key is patience and presence. Desire cannot be forced, it cannot be commanded, it cannot exist in a vacuum of insecurity or desperation. It emerges naturally when you are aware, when you are grounded, and when you operate from a place of confidence and authenticity. Every glance, every laugh, every small gesture of interest is an opportunity to understand yourself better, to recognize your power, and to step into a level of attraction that many men never even dream of. And the moment you accept this truth, your life changes. You see the world differently, you interact differently, and most importantly, you see yourself differently. So pay attention, look around, listen carefully, watch the subtle movements, the energy shifts, the micro signals that women give naturally. They are not random, they are not meaningless, they are desire expressed in its purest, most understated form. And the moment you start noticing them, you begin to step into a reality where attraction is not about chasing or performing. It is about recognizing the power that has always been yours. Remember this, and let it sink in. Desire is quiet, desire is subtle, and desire has been drawn to you all along. You simply needed to open your eyes. Once you do, there is no going back. You will never look at glances, touches, laughter, or energy the same way again. You will begin to see the signs, unders, tan them, and step fully into the magnetic power that has always been within you. And that awareness, once awakened, is more powerful than anything else in the world. You might think that youth, looks, or material success are what make a man attractive, that the power to be desired comes from a perfect face, a sculpted body, or the ability to impress with wealth and status. But here's the truth, that most men will never admit to themselves. None of that matters if you don't understand the deeper mechanics of attraction. Women are not drawn primarily to superficial things. They are drawn to energy, presence, and the quiet confidence that comes from a man who knows himself and his worth. You see, the world has conditioned men to believe that they must perform, that they must chase, that they must earn attention with external symbols. But desire is not transactional. It is magnetic. It flows naturally from the way you carry yourself, the calmness you project, and the certainty you hold within. Confidence is the core of this magnetism. But I'm not talking about loud confidence, flashy confidence, or confidence that seeks validation. I'm talking about quiet, unshakable, self-contained confidence, the type that does not need to prove itself because it knows its value. This is the kind of confidence that makes a woman notice you even before you say a word. It is in the way you walk into a room without hesitation, the way your posture communicates calm strength, the way your voice carries authority without force. Women are biologically and psychologically attuned to these subtle signals. They respond not to what you show them externally, but to the energy you emit internally. That energy, when grounded in self-awareness, becomes irresistible. Most older men underestimate this because they confuse self-assurance with arrogance. They think confidence means dominance or control, but true confidence is quieter. It is composed. It is the ability to sit in a room full of people and remain completely present without needing to command attention. It is the ability to speak your truth without fear of judgment, to move through life with a sense of purpose and certainty. When a man embodies this, women sense it immediately. It is an invisible signal, but one that resonates deeply, even subconsciously. Desire is drawn to security, and confidence creates that security, not just security in a material sense, but emotional and psychological security, the knowledge that you are complete, whole, and grounded, and that you are not looking for validation from anyone else. Presence is another critical aspect. Presence is not about being loud or flashy. It is about being fully aware of yourself and the environment around you. It is the ability to engage deeply in a conversation, to notice the little details, and to make the other person feel like they are the center of your attention, even if they are just one among many. Presence communicates respect, awareness, and understanding. Women are highly sensitive to presence because it signals that you are fully engaged, fully alive, and fully capable of connection. And here's the subtle beauty of it. You don't have to perform or pretend to be someone you're not. Presence flows naturally when you have confidence in yourself and a calm mastery of your life. Experience also plays a unique and magnetic role. Life experience gives a man depth, wisdom, and perspective, qualities that cannot be bought or imitated. A man who has faced challenges, learned from mistakes, and grown through adversity exudes a quiet authority that women cannot resist. They feel the difference immediately between a man who has lived and learned it and a man who is still trying to prove himself to the world. Experience communicates reliability, emotional intelligence, and the ability to navigate life with composure. These are qualities that create attraction on a level far deeper than appearances. When a woman senses that you have lived fully and grown through it, she recognizes the stability and security that comes with that journey, and desire is drawn naturally toward it. Now, this is where most men fail. They try to simulate these qualities instead of cultivating them. They spend hours in the gym, upgrading cars, buying expensive clothes, or crafting an image of success. But desire does not respond to imitation, it responds to authenticity. A man who genuinely embodies confidence, presence, and life experience radiates an energy that cannot be faked. Women feel it instinctively. They are drawn to it because it signals that you are not only capable of protecting and providing, but also of engaging deeply, understanding fully, and connecting meaningfully. This is the kind of attraction that lasts, the kind that goes beyond fleeting appearances, and the kind that commands respect and attention without effort. Calmness is another dimension of attraction that is often overlooked. Life has a way of testing us, throwing challenges at every turn, and most people respond with anxiety, overreaction, or constant striving. But a man who remains calm in the face of uncertainty, who does not panic or overcomplicate, exudes a magnetic stability. Women are subconsciously drawn to this stability because it signals emotional intelligence, self-mastery, and reliability. Calmness does not mean passivity, it means control over your reactions, a grounded perspective, and the ability to navigate life without chaos. It is a form of strength that speaks louder than words, and it is profoundly attractive. Let me emphasize something critical here. None of these qualities, confidence, presence, experience, calmness, exist in isolation. They are interconnected, and the power emerges from the combination. A man who is confident but lacks presence may appear arrogant. A man with experience but no calmness may seem rigid or harsh. A man who projects energy but lacks self-awareness may come across as performative. But when these qualities converge, they create a force of attraction that is subtle, undeniable, and magnetic. Women sense it even if they cannot articulate it. And once you begin to embody these qualities consistently, you no longer need to wonder whether you are desired. You simply are. The irony is that society teaches men to overvalue youth, physical appearance, or wealth while undervaluing these deeper, intrinsic qualities. Older men often think they are past their prime, that desire belongs only to the young, and that they must chase or perform to regain attention. But in reality, the opposite is true. With age comes the opportunity to cultivate confidence, presence, experience, and calmness, qualities that create an attraction far more profound than superficial appeal. Understanding this shift, everything. It allows you to stop chasing, stop performing, and start living authentically, knowing that desire follows naturally when you embody these traits. This is not about ego or pride. It is about awareness. It is about understanding that attraction is not a game of luck, chance, or superficiality. It is a reflection of energy, presence, and authenticity. Women are drawn to these qualities because they represent a level of mastery and self-possession that resonates deeply with human psychology. They sense it intuitively, and desire flows toward it naturally. The moment you understand this, your interactions change. Conversations become more meaningful, connections more genuine, and your presence more powerful. You step into a world where attraction is not something to be forced. It is something that follows naturally when you operate from a place of self-assuredness. So pay attention to your inner life. Cultivate confidence that does not seek validation. Develop presence that commands attention without demanding it. Draw from your life experiences to create depth and wisdom. Remain calm in the face of uncertainty, and let your energy flow authentically. These qualities are timeless, magnetic, and far more effective than anything external could ever be. The power to be desired has always been within you. You simply needed to recognize it, cultivate it, and embody it fully. Remember this, and let it sink in. Youth fades, appearances change, and wealth can come and go. But confidence, presence, experience, and calmness are eternal. They are your true sources of attraction, your natural power, and the qualities that women have been drawn to for centuries. Once you embrace this, desire no longer feels like a game of chance. It becomes a reflection of the man you already are. Step into it, own it, and watch how the world responds to the energy you radiate. One of the most shocking truths that most men never understand is that you do not need to try to be desired. You do not need to perform, to chase, to send messages, to overthink interactions, or to force attraction. The world has spent decades teaching men that desire is something you must earn through effort, charm, or action, that you must act a certain way, say the right things, or follow a script if you want someone to notice you. But the reality is far more fascinating, far more empowering, and far more liberating. Desire is drawn to presence, confidence, and authenticity, not performance. The moment you internalize this truth, your entire experience with attraction shifts. You stop seeking approval and start seeing how naturally women are drawn to you when you operate from your center. Think about this. A woman can sense desperation from a mile away. She can feel it in the subtle tension of your voice, in the anxious glance of your eyes, and in the way you overcompensate with words or gestures. Desperation, even if hidden beneath a smile or humor, breaks attraction instantly. Yet many men spend their lives trying to manufacture desire through effort, as if chasing will make someone see value they couldn't perceive naturally. The irony is that the harder you chase, the more invisible your authentic power becomes. True magnetism is never about trying to create interest. It exists naturally, quietly, and inevitably when you embody the right energy. This is where the concept not needing to flirt becomes profound. Many men believe that flirting is the key to being desired. They think that teasing, complimenting, or showing playful attention is what creates attraction. In reality, these are surface tools, temporary sparks at best. The real driver of desire is not what you say or how you act. It is who you are in your core, how you carry yourself, and how comfortable you are in your own energy. Women respond instinctively to a man who is grounded, complete, and unapologetically himself. Flirtation becomes unnecessary because your presence alone communicates value, confidence, and allure. Observe closely how this works in life. Women are constantly sending subtle signals, glances, touches, shifts in tone, energy alignment, that most men fail to notice because they are too busy trying to manufacture connection. But when a man understands that attraction is drawn to his natural energy, he sees these signals clearly. He notices the lingering eye contact, a light laughter, the way a woman mirrors his movements without any prompting. And he understands that he does not need to initiate attraction artificially because it is already happening. The realization is powerful. Desire is happening naturally when you are fully yourself. Another dimension to this is the idea of self-sufficiency. Desire flows toward a man who is emotionally complete, who does not seek validation from others, and who operates from a place of internal stability. When a man is whole, women sense it. They feel the difference between a man who is centered in his identity and one who is constantly seeking approval. This is why many older men are so magnetic. Life experience, self-awareness, and confidence create an invisible aura that attracts naturally, without need for performance. Flirtation becomes redundant because the energy you emit is already compelling. You do not need to convince anyone to like you when your presence already draws their attention. The key here is subtlety. Not needing to flirt does not mean being passive or indifferent. It does not mean ignoring opportunities for connection. It means recognizing that attraction is already present and that your role is to operate with awareness, patience, and authenticity. It means seeing the signals without overreacting, engaging without forcing, and being present without expectation. When you do this, desire grows naturally. Women feel it, respond to it, and are drawn to it in ways that no amount of calculated effort could ever replicate. Consider the psychology behind this. Human beings are wired to respond to confidence, self-possession, and authenticity. The brain perceives these traits as markers of stability, security, and competence. When a man exudes these qualities effortlessly, the brain recognizes him as someone of value, someone worth attention, and someone to whom attraction naturally flows. This is why subtle energy, presence, and self-assuredness trump all surface-level strategies. Flirtation, chasing, or trying too hard only signals insecurity. The moment you step into your own power, the need to perform disappears and desire follows automatically. Another layer to consider is the philosophy of resonance. Desire is not something that can be manufactured. It is something that responds to energy alignment. Women are drawn to men whose energy resonates with theirs, whose presence evokes comfort, curiosity, and excitement without effort. Trying to flirt or force interaction disrupts this resonance because it injects unnatural energy into the dynamic. True attraction emerges when energy flows naturally, when signals are aligned, and when both parties feel the pull without manipulation. Recognizing this allows a man to step into a space where desire is organic, effortless, and profound. This approach also frees men from the trap of comparison. Many older men feel they are competing with younger men, better-looking men, or men with more wealth or status. They think they need to perform better to be desired. But when you internalize the principle that you do not need to flirt to be desired, all external competition becomes irrelevant. Your power comes from within, from your energy, presence, and self-assurance. The realization is liberating. You are already magnetic, already capable of attracting interest, and already a force to be reckoned with. Flirtation is not the mechanism, you are the mechanism. The irony is that most men fail to understand how simple this is. They complicate attraction with overthinking, scripts, and strategies when the truth is much more elegant. Attraction is a reflection of your energy. Women respond to what you emit naturally, not what you fabricate artificially. When you embrace this, life shifts. Interactions become smoother, connections more meaningful, and attention more consistent. You step into a flow where desire is no longer something to chase. It is something that follows naturally when you embody your authentic self. This principle also has profound implications for relationships. When a man understands that he does not need to perform to be desired, he approaches women from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. He engages in connection because he wants to, not because he fears losing attention. This creates a dynamic that is inherently magnetic, built on respect, authenticity, and genuine interest rather than manipulation or effort. Desire, in this sense, is a natural consequence of who you are, not a reward for what you do. So pay attention to yourself. Cultivate your presence, confidence, and authenticity. Trust that desire is drawn to the energy you naturally emit, not the one you fabricate. Stop trying to Stop trying to manufacture attraction. Recognize the subtle signs of interest that are already present, honor them, and respond from a place of grounded power. This is the secret that most men never learn, and it is also the secret that will transform your life if you do. Remember this, and let it sink in. You do not need to flirt to be desired. Desire is not a prize to earn, a test to pass, or a performance to perfect. It is a natural reflection of the energy, presence, and authenticity you already carry. When you understand this, you stop chasing and start attracting. You step into a world where attention, admiration, and desire flow naturally, effortlessly, and endlessly toward you. And that is the true power that most men never realize, but you can claim it starting today. There is a force in life that most men fail to recognize, a force far more powerful than looks, money, or status. It is energy. The energy you carry, the way it flows through your body, and the subtle authority you project without even thinking about it. Energy is the silent language of attraction. It is the signal that communicates more than words ever could, and women sense it instantly. The problem is that most men misunderstand it. They believe authority is about dominance, control, or force. They believe energy must be flashy, loud, or performative, and because of that, they overcomplicate the very thing that naturally draws desire. In reality, energy and authority, when aligned with presence and authenticity, create magnetic attraction that cannot be resisted. Let's start with authority. But I'm not talking about titles, jobs, or societal recognition. I'm talking about a deeper the authority that comes from mastery of self, emotional intelligence, and calm command over your own life. This is the kind of authority that doesn't need to be announced. It is felt. You walk into a room and your energy subtly shifts the space. People pay attention without you asking them to. Women feel it intuitively. They recognize the difference between a man who has internal mastery and one who is struggling to prove himself externally. The first one exudes power effortlessly. The second one is noticeable only through effort, which rarely attracts. Real authority is quiet, calm, and grounded, and it communicates something far more profound than words ever could, that you are someone of value, someone who is whole, and someone who cannot be shaken by trivialities. Energy works hand in hand with this authority. Energy is the current that flows through you, influencing the way people perceive you, the way they respond to you, and the way desire naturally forms around you. High-quality energy, calm, focused, and intentional, creates a gravitational pull that women cannot ignore. It is the difference between someone who dominates with volume and force and someone who draws attention simply by existing in their power. Women are biologically attuned to this energy. Their brains respond to it, their bodies register it, and their subconscious reacts to it before they even consciously acknowledge it. This is why a man with presence and authority can command attention without ever trying to perform. Desire flows toward him naturally, effortlessly, and consistently. One of the most important things to understand about energy is that it is not something you can fake for long. You can imitate confidence, try to act dominant, or adopt certain behaviors, but energy is authentic or it is not. It reveals the truth of your inner world. A man who is anxious, insecure, or inconsistent in his energy will signal these traits even when he tries to hide them. Conversely, a man who has cultivated self-awareness, calmness, and mastery over his life emits a natural force that draws attention, admiration, and desire. Women may not be able to articulate it, but they feel it. They respond to it instinctively. And the most shocking part? You've had this energy all along. You just needed to understand how to harness it. Authority is amplified by presence. A man can have incredible energy, but if he is distracted, disengaged, or unaware, women will not feel it fully. Presence is the way you inhabit your own body, the way you move through the world with awareness, and the way you give attention to the people around you. Presence is not about performance or trying to impress. It's about being fully here, fully alive, and fully comfortable in your own skin. When authority and presence align, the result is magnetic. Women are drawn not because you say something clever, but because the way you exist commands their attention. Your energy, your calm, your awareness, all of it communicates an invisible power that words cannot replicate. Many older men fail to recognize this because they focus on superficial metrics of attraction. They think they need to be witty, charming, or visibly impressive. But these are temporary sparks. Authority and energy operate on a deeper level. They work silently, gradually, and profoundly. Women notice the subtle shifts, the way your voice carries calm assurance, the way your gestures are intentional but relaxed, the way your posture communicates composure. All of these signals accumulate to create a sense of attraction that is far more enduring than any clever joke or flashy display. Desire is not built on performance, it is built on resonance. Resonance is key. Women are drawn to energy that resonates with their own internal state. When you are calm, confident, and grounded, you create a space that allows them to feel comfortable, curious, and excited at the same time. Energy is contagious. It flows between people, amplifying the connection in ways that words cannot. The more you cultivate your own internal energy and authority, the more you influence the energy around you, and the more desire naturally forms. This is the invisible architecture of attraction, and understanding it is like learning the secret code of human connection. The philosophical dimension of this is equally important. Authority and energy are not just tools for attraction. They are reflections of self-mastery. A man who can maintain his energy, command his presence, and operate with authority in all aspects of life is someone who has cultivated a deep internal foundation. Women recognize this because it signals reliability, competence, and security. It signals that you are someone capable of navigating life's complexities with grace. Desire, therefore, is not superficial. It is a reflection of alignment between your internal power and the external world. The more you strengthen your internal foundation, the more naturally desire will flow toward you. Energy and authority also create a boundary that is incredibly attractive. Women are drawn to men who are not desperate, not needy, and not easily swayed. When your energy is stable and your authority is grounded, you create an invisible magnetism that commands attention without coercion. This is why subtle, confident men often attract more desire than those who try too hard or rely on external validation. Desire is drawn to certainty, calmness, and control over one's own life. And these qualities, when expressed authentically, are far more powerful than anything external could provide. Let me be clear, authority and energy are not about dominance over others. They are about mastery of self. They are about cultivating presence, confidence, and awareness so that the energy you project naturally aligns with attraction. Women respond to this because it communicates strength, stability, and competence without force. It is the difference between being followed because you demand it and being followed because people are drawn to you naturally. The latter is rare and it is profoundly magnetic. When energy and authority are combined, the result is effortless attraction. It is no longer about tricks, flattery, or manipulation. Desire becomes a reflection of the man you already are. Women are drawn to your stability, your calmness, and the quiet command you project. They notice the way your presence affects the environment, the way your energy shifts the room, and the subtle signals that communicate mastery without words. This is the kind of attraction that lasts, that is deeply felt, and that cannot be replicated by superficial measures. So, if you want to be desired in a way that is profound and enduring, focus on cultivating your energy and authority. Invest in self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and mastery of your life. Learn to inhabit your own presence fully and authentically. Stop trying to impress and start learning to radiate calm, grounded energy. Desire is not a game of chasing or performance. It is a natural consequence of the energy and authority you carry. The moment you understand this, your interactions, relationships, and connections transform completely. Remember this and let it sink in. Energy and authority are invisible, undeniable, and profoundly attractive. They cannot be bought, faked, or imitated for long. They must be cultivated from within. When you do, desire flows naturally, effortlessly, and consistently toward you. Women sense it immediately, and attraction becomes not something you chase, but something that reflects the man you already are. Step into your energy, own your authority, and watch as the world responds to the power you have always carried within yourself. The most overlooked, yet most transformative truth about desire and attraction is that it begins with awareness. Awareness of yourself, awareness of others, and awareness of the subtle signals that surround you every moment. Most men walk through life blind to the reality that desire has always been present. They fail to notice the energy, the attention, and the attraction directed toward them because they are too caught up in fear, doubt, or self-criticism. But awareness changes everything. It is the bridge between invisibility and magnetism, between longing and fulfillment. The moment you become fully aware, you begin to see the signs of attraction clearly, and with that clarity comes power, real power, the kind that cannot be stolen, bought, or imitated. Awareness begins with observation. It is paying attention to the details that most men overlook: a lingering glance, a soft laugh that carries warmth, a subtle touch, a slight shift in energy. These are not random occurrences, they are signals. Women communicate interest in ways that are often subconscious, ways that are invisible to a man who is distracted, anxious, or disconnected. But when you are present and fully aware, these signs become impossible to ignore. The recognition of these cues is not vanity, it is clarity. It is the ability to see reality as it is without the distortions of doubt, insecurity, or projection, and that clarity is a form of power in itself. Awareness also means understanding the psychology of attraction. Women, like all human beings, respond first to energy, then to presence, and finally to authenticity. Desire is not earned through performance, overexertion, or superficial charm. It is drawn to a man who is confident, composed, and grounded, a man who understands his value without needing external validation. When you realize this, you stop trying to impress and start noticing the ways in which attraction is already flowing toward you naturally. This understanding transforms your interactions because you no longer operate from a place of scarcity or fear. You operate from abundance. You operate from knowledge that your energy, your presence, and your life experience are magnetic. Part of this awareness is also self-awareness. Most men spend decades chasing validation from the outside world, thinking that desire is a reflection of what they acquire, what they achieve, or how they are perceived. But desire is not a reward for performance. It is a reflection of your inner state. Women respond to the man you are, not the man you pretend to be. A man who is aware of his strengths, his boundaries, and his presence radiates a magnetic energy that cannot be manufactured. Self-awareness allows you to recognize your natural power, and once you do, you stop giving it away unconsciously. You no longer settle for fleeting attention or shallow interactions. You begin to attract people who resonate with your energy, who see your value, and who respond to the authentic version of yourself. This awareness extends to understanding subtle social dynamics. Desire is rarely loud or obvious. Is expressed in microsignals, shifts in tone, and subtle movements. Women communicate attraction without words through lingering eye contact, slight mirroring of gestures, and changes in energy when you enter a space. A man who is truly aware sees these signals, interprets them accurately, and responds naturally, rather than overthinking or misreading them. Awareness is the difference between walking through life blind to your own magnetism and stepping into a world where attraction flows effortlessly toward you. It is the key that unlocks the hidden door to connection, influence, and desire. Another dimension of awareness is emotional regulation. Desire is attracted to calm, composed energy because it signals stability and competence. A man who reacts impulsively, who overanalyzes every interaction, or who is easily swayed by fear or insecurity, creates tension and uncertainty. Women respond instinctively to energy, not words, and when a man is grounded, aware, and emotionally present, he communicates strength without effort. Awareness allows you to monitor your own energy, adjust when necessary, and maintain the kind of calm that draws others in rather than pushing them away. Emotional awareness is the invisible force behind confidence, authority, and presence. Philosophically, awareness is a form of freedom. It frees you from the illusion that desire is something you need to chase, manipulate, or earn. It frees you from the anxiety that comes from comparing yourself to others. It frees you from the traps of insecurity, self-doubt, and fear of rejection. When you are aware, you see that attraction is already happening. You see that the signs have always been there, and you understand that your power has never been dependent on external validation. This freedom is magnetic because it communicates to others that you are complete, grounded, and self-contained, a quality that is irresistible. Awareness also creates alignment between action and energy. Once you recognize your magnetism, you begin to act with intention. You stop performing or chasing, and you start engaging authentically. Conversations become deeper, connections become richer, and your presence becomes impossible to ignore. Women sense the difference immediately because your energy is no longer actuated by doubt or pretense. Every word, every gesture, and every movement aligns with your internal state. This alignment amplifies attraction in ways that superficial strategies never could. Desire in this context is not something you create. It is something you reveal by showing up fully as yourself. The most profound impact of awareness is that it allows you to step into your natural power without resistance. Many men spend their lives unaware of their own magnetism, and they undervalue themselves in interactions that could be transformative. They fail to recognize the glances, laughter, and energy shifts that are indicators of interest. They ignore subtle cues because they are distracted, anxious, or focused on the wrong things. Awareness brings these signals into focus. It allows you to see clearly, respond appropriately, and operate from a place of control rather than reaction. It transforms desire from something elusive into something tangible, natural, and inevitable. Awareness also teaches patience. Desire, connection, and attraction cannot be forced, hurried, or manufactured. They emerge naturally when energy, presence, and authenticity align. A man who is aware recognizes the timing of interactions, understands the rhythms of social dynamics, and respects the process of attraction. He does not rush or push because he understands that desire flows most powerfully when it is allowed to develop organically. Awareness, in this sense, becomes both a lens and a guide, showing you where to focus your energy, when to act, and when to simply observe. Finally, awareness is transformative because it leads to action rooted in understanding. Once you recognize your OWN power and the subtle signals of desire around you, you are no longer a passive participant in your own life. You begin to make choices that amplify your natural magnetism. You cultivate confidence, presence, and energy intentionally. You stop giving your power away to fear, insecurity, or social pressure. Instead, you step fully into the reality of who you are and the attraction you naturally command. Awareness unlocks a level of personal authority that cannot be imitated, purchased, or borrowed. It is uniquely yours, and once embraced, it transforms every interaction, every relationship, and every connection you experience. So understand this deeply. Awareness is your superpower. It allows you to recognize desire, amplify your magnetism, and operate from a place of authentic power. It teaches patience, sharpens perception, and connects action to energy. It frees you from fear and self-doubt while unlocking the attraction that has always been drawn to you. Awareness is not passive observation, it is active mastery. It is the key that allows you to see the truth of your own value, step fully into your energy, and attract the people, attention, and connections that align with the man you are meant to be. Remember this and let it resonate. Desire has always been present around you. Your power has always existed within you. Awareness is the tool that allows you to finally recognize it, embrace it, and operate from it fully. Open your eyes, step into your energy, see the signs, and let the magnetism you already possess guide your life, your presence, and your interactions in ways that will transform your world forever.